We're finally at the point where Raising Kanan is starting to connect directly to Power Origins, and after watching the episode 6 trailer, I honestly don't think that's a coincidence anymore. For the first time, it feels like the show is preparing us for the arrival of the two characters everyone has been waiting for, Ghost and Tommy. The trailer never actually shows them, but it drops several clues that are almost impossible to ignore. At the same time, Kanan is becoming more dangerous than ever before. Breeze is making smarter moves with every episode, and the war against Raq is reaching a level where new soldiers are absolutely necessary. If Kanan really needs to build a stronger crew now, then this could be the perfect moment for James Steedy Patrick to enter the story. And if that happens, it won't just change Raising Kanan. It will completely reshape everything we thought we knew about the beginning of the Power universe. So let's break down everything the episode 6 trailer is secretly telling us, because I think Ghost is much closer than most people realize. Before we talk about Ghost, we need to understand why episode 6 could become one of the most important episodes of the entire season. Throughout the last few episodes, we've watched a balance of power completely fall apart. Raq has lost people she trusted, Marvin has become more emotional than strategic, and Kanan has finally reached a point where he no longer sees himself as just Raq's son. Now he wants to become a leader in his own right. That change is exactly what Breeze has been encouraging from the very beginning. Every conversation between Breeze and Kanan has pushed Kanan a little further away from his family and a little closer toward creating his own organization. At first, it seemed like Breeze was simply giving Kanan advice, but now it's obvious that he's helping shape the future drug empire that fans have heard about for years. The interesting part is that Breeze never tells Kanan to rush into anything. Instead, he constantly reminds him to think ahead, stay patient, and only make a move when the timing is perfect. That difference between Breeze and Raq is becoming more obvious with every episode. Raq controls people through fear, while Breeze earns loyalty by making people believe they're building something bigger together. That's exactly why Kanan has become so attached to him. The episode 6 trailer continues to build on that relationship. We see Kanan looking determined, but also frustrated. His war against Raq is far from over, and every move he makes creates another problem. That's important because wars don't just cost money. They also cost people. Kanan has already lost allies, and some of his remaining soldiers aren't experienced enough to keep fighting forever. Meanwhile, Raq still has Marvin, loyal connections, and years of experience running the streets. Even if Kanan wins a few battles, he still doesn't have enough people to win the entire war. That's where the trailer starts becoming very interesting. One thing that immediately stood out to me is how often the trailer focuses on Kanan and Breeze talking privately. Whenever these two are alone, they're usually planning their next move. The show rarely includes those conversations without a reason. That makes me think episode 6 won't simply be about revenge. Instead, it will be about expansion. Breeze understands that if they're going to defeat Raq, they can't keep relying on the same small group of people. They need fresh faces, younger soldiers, and people who can grow into powerful players over time. And if you've watched the original Power, you already know exactly who fits that description. Ghost and Tommy weren't born into powerful positions. They started as young street kids learning under Breeze and Kanan before eventually becoming legends themselves. For years, fans have wondered exactly how those relationships started. Did Kanan find Ghost first? Did Breeze recruit him? Did Tommy come along because of Ghost? The show has never fully answered those questions, but episode 6 might finally begin filling in those missing pieces. Something else that caught my attention is how the writers have been planting references instead of giving direct answers. We saw Breeze watching Jeopardy, which longtime fans immediately recognized as one of the biggest callbacks to Ghost eventually killing Breeze. We heard dialogue that sounded almost like the writers were reminding us about events that haven't happened yet. Instead of rushing toward those moments, they're carefully building the foundation first. That's why I don't actually expect Ghost to suddenly appear in episode 6. I think the writers know his introduction is too important to waste on a quick surprise entrance. Instead, they'll probably do something much smarter. Imagine Kanan and Breeze discussing the need for new recruits after another deadly attack. Someone mentions a kid who's been making money in the neighborhood. Another person brings up a young hustler named James. Maybe they even mention another kid who's always with him named Tommy. The audience instantly knows who they're talking about, even if we never see their faces. That single conversation would completely change the direction of the series because it would officially confirm that Ghost and Tommy already exist in this world and are about to become part of Kanan's story. The timing also makes perfect sense. Ghost can't simply appear as the confident mastermind we met in the original Power. At this point in the timeline, James should still be learning. He should be ambitious, intelligent, and eager to prove himself, but nowhere near becoming the Ghost we eventually know. That's actually what makes the stage of his life so exciting. We'll finally get to watch him develop instead of already being fully formed. Every lesson from Breeze, every mistake Kanan makes, and every decision on the streets could slowly transform James into the man who would eventually build one of the biggest drug organizations in New York. And honestly, that's why I think episode 6 feels so different from the previous episodes. The trailer isn't just teasing another battle between Kanan and Raq. It's quietly preparing the next generation of the Power universe. Every conversation, every new recruit, and every strategic decision feels like another step toward the beginning of Power Origins. Even if Ghost never physically appears, the story may finally acknowledge that his journey has already begun. Another major part of the episode 6 trailer that immediately caught my attention is how much pressure Kanan is under. Over the last few episodes, he's become stronger, more confident, and much more ruthless, but he's also made a lot of powerful enemies. That's the problem with trying to build your own empire. Every move you make creates another person who wants to take you down. Right now, Kanan believes he's ready to lead, but leading isn't just about winning fights. It's about making decisions that keep your people alive. And I think episode 6 is going to be the first time Kanan realizes just how difficult that really is. One thing I've noticed is that Breeze always seems to be thinking several steps ahead. While Kanan usually focuses on getting revenge as quickly as possible, Breeze is always looking at the bigger picture. He understands that if they allow their emotions to control them, they'll end up making mistakes that Raq can easily take advantage of. That's why I think we'll see Breeze trying to convince Kanan to slow down once again. But just like we've seen before, I don't think Kanan is going to listen. The trailer makes it look like Kanan is preparing for another major move, and honestly, I don't think his target is random. After everything that's happened between him and Marvin, there's no doubt that Kanan still wants revenge. Marvin nearly beat him to death, and that's not something Kanan is simply going to forget. At this point, revenge has become personal. But here's where things get interesting. I don't think Kanan is going to attack Marvin directly. I think he'll go after the people around him instead. We've already seen how dangerous Kanan has become when he feels cornered. He's no longer the teenager who hesitates before pulling the trigger. Every episode shows him becoming colder,